Now let's have a look at the chords. I have a Keyscape key here, so this is a great VST, and I have the classic Rhodes going through an amp stereo with a phaser. It's a very classic sort of deep sound, jazz sound. And this is a much more resonant sound. I've got an auto filter on here with a low pass filter. So if we open that filter up, we're at 513 Hertz here in the frequency. Now let's open it up. And you can hear the phaser going on in here. Let's go back to what it was, around 513 it was. And you know, this track was in a bit of a strange key. It was in A flat minor, which is then the key I then picked the scale in, and I have a cool little thing called the chord bot here, which lets me figure out chords in any scale. But you could just look up the scale and go and Google chords in the key of A flat minor, and it'll come up with, like, you know, giving you the chords and how to do them. So these are just two chords in that scale, and they have like a nice, deep, nice melancholic sound. And you know, like these groove type tracks, minimal type tracks, normally don't have chords in them, and this is why I put it in there, because I didn't want to just sort of recreate something that Solid Grooves is doing. I wanted to elevate it and do something a little bit different. And those tracks are typically not that musical. They're usually about bass lines and beats, and maybe like a hip hop style, sort of pauser style vocal. But people rarely use chords. But chords are emotions, and emotions always work. I mean, music is emotional, so music for me is about emotions. So we listen to the chords coming in here. Bounce. 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 And then comes the JV1080. The JV1080 is like a Swiss Army knife of synthesizers. This is a Roland instrument. And it is used to be like a sound module. It looks exactly like this. It was a rack mounted sound module, and you can see the preset here is an 119 twin strats under EL guitar, which means electric guitar. So this is kind of like a synth version of an electric guitar sound. It's supposed to be twin Stratocaster. It doesn't sound like a twin Stratocaster at all. It's kind of like the Roland synthesizer version of a guitar, but to me it sounded really funky, especially with those keys. And together with a vocal, especially, it just created like a bit of magic here. So let's have a listen to all of those together. Come here, girl, come here, girl, come here, girl, bounce. Come here, girl, come here, girl, come here, girl, bounce. Come here, girl, come here, girl, come here, girl, bounce. Come here. So yeah, I always like in the last sort of, you know, 12 months, I've used this combination of like plucky, funky guitars together with a beautiful Rhodes pad quite often, and I feel it works really well. Now, for those sounds to play together well, I use a plugin called Trackspacer. Some of you might have heard me talking about this already. Trackspacer is a very important plugin. So Trackspacer is essentially like an automated type of an EQ, and I can here put the Trackspacer on Keyscape for my pads, and I can send a sidechain from the JV1080, so from the electric guitar, and it will then basically dynamically cut a hole into the frequency spectrum right where the sound of the 1080 comes through, as you can see here. So this corresponds to the guitar sound here. And it just assures that you can hear both things in the mix. That's why it's called Trackspacer. It gives each track its own space in the sound spectrum. So, you know, I can have pads and I can have this sort of plucky guitar sound sitting on top, and they just don't clash with each other. They you can hear both of them really well. And I love that plugin Trackspacer. I use it all of the time. The next sort of sound that's really important for this track is this sound here, Blue 2. This sound makes the track. So let's have a listen to that. Now this is a very sort of cool muted sine wave type sound out of the Blue 2 synthesizer by Rob Parpin. This synth is great. This was a recommendation from Coulter. Coulter recommended this one for me and says it's full of great sounds, and he was absolutely right. And this particular sound here on Blue 2 is actually called Sine Solo. So it does what it says in the tin. It is a sine wave sound, not very resonant, very cool sounding, but this kind of understated sound works very well in this concept, in this context with this groove. So let's have a listen.
Let me talk to you. Bounce, girl. Let me talk to you. Bounce, girl. Let me talk to you. Bounce, girl. Let me talk to you.
That kind of do 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 do. It's enough. Like, it's very subtle. It can't be like, it's not a resonant type sound. It's super subtle, but I love it because like when that thing drops in, like in the breakdown, it just fucking makes the track go off. So have a listen to this. Let me see them big titties. Let me see Diddy and that pretty. Break bread if you wanna get with me. All I wanna do is girl. Let me talk to you. Girl. Snare roll. Girl. Let me talk to you. Girl. Let me talk to you. Bounce. 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 You know, I feel these type of sounds are very well suited for tracks that have vocals. When you have a vocal sitting up front and doing most of the work, you don't need resonant, kind of harsh sounds. Something that's a little bit more pulled back, a little bit more subdued, works much better in the context and together with the vocals than if you had something that is fighting in the same frequency spectrum as the vocals. So again, I haven't used Trackspacer here, but this is all about giving each element in the track space. And that is the lead sound.